I didn't even start nothing, man. I was like, dude, I finally, because it's been crazy.
Yep, yes it has.
But now that I got all the right buttons pushed, I can I can completely forgot there for a second, and I had nothing going on, bro. I had nothing going on. But hey, it is awesome to have Dexter Taylor back with us on our Sundays, people. Um, we have been missing you, brother. I just want you to know that. You know what, Dexter? I'd caught you in a couple spaces, you know,
Uh-huh.
um, with everything, but a lot of times I don't like coming in there and running off at the mouth because, like I said, I like to give everybody else the opportunity to talk to you and you talk to them and things of that sort. So
Yes,
I
sir.
just come in
Yes,
and
sir.
listen and I sit back and shut up on one
Yes,
of
sir.
those. But we
Word,
got you
word.
back, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
How you
It's
doing?
good to
How you
be
doing?
back.
Tell the people, tell the people how you doing, brother.
I'm doing all right. Don't worry about me. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing fine. Like I said, I'm on the how I'm doing is I'm on the warpath as usual. That's how I'm doing. I'm on the warpath.
Okay,
You know,
okay.
because just I just we're trying to just turn up the volume, expand the number of people who know about this case, and kind of just draw the circle wider. So yeah, I'm on the warpath, just talking about these corrupt Democrats and the stuff they're up to, and just what's cool is that the irony just keeps on giving. You know what I'm saying? Um, I think the thing that strikes me recently with what's in the news, in terms of like things happening in Massachusetts or in New Jersey, what have you. You know, Democrats really seem to have mixed up this whole thing of rights and privileges. Um, they really seem to think uh, rights are privileges, and they're definitely treating privileges like rights.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, all the immigration madness. I was telling Carl that I called my mom today, and she played me. So, of course, my mom has had a giant red pill moment ever since this thing happened to me. So now she spends a lot of her spare time, hanging out on YouTube, looking up conservative YouTube videos and like getting the 411 on what the Democrats are up to. And so today she played me this video by a guy named Nate Friedman, who apparently did an expose on some migrant shelter in Massachusetts, where the governor has apparently used a law called the Right to Shelter Law to just embark on a campaign of giving lots of free stuff to folks. And looking, giving free stuff to folks is wonderful, but the problem is that the taxpayers of Massachusetts are paying for that. So yeah, just one more thing. But it's just ironic because of course Massachusetts is one of the worst Second Amendment states, right? But it's probably the best state in the union, right, to come to if you are in the country illegally because of this misapplication of the right to shelter law. And of course, you have all the usual features, right? The state government paying a nonprofit corporation to run the facility, charging the government for monies that were never spent, and big giveaways, pretty much free everything. And it's interesting. It's
Well,
interesting to watch.
that would be Minnesota also. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
I would think so.
we're one of those states where you can come here as an immigrant with nothing, and 2 weeks later you're driving around in a brand new Ram $80,000 pickup truck.
Wait a minute. That's what the guy says. The guy in the video was saying, yeah, a lot of these guys that living in this shelter have new cars.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, wait a minute. What? How does that work?
I just went over. I actually had a meeting in outside this place outside of Minneapolis, and the residents there are furious. They're upset. They're pissed off about certain things that's going on. Now, here's what gets me about what's going on here in Minnesota. It's not like if people was not warned. If people would have opened their eyes or listened, they would have been way ahead of what's going on here. Because what these groups are doing here in Minnesota, what they're doing is they're using like equity farms, right? Farm, and they will get these people to go buy land for them, and then that firm will sell the land back to these people. Like they bought a bunch of land out in this place called Lakeville. Out in Lakeville, this firm went out and they bought all of this land, right? And then so the people who really wanted the land bought the land from them. So that's how they're doing all. It's all under the table. I mean, these people, the way they do things, you don't even know it's happening until, bam! It's like it's too late.
Well, wait a minute. You said that private equity firms are buying land.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And people who want. So in other words, Minnesotans who want to buy land buy it from the private equity firm. Where do immigrants come into the picture?
Say again.
Where do immigrants come into the picture?
They buy the land from they're the ones who's actually buying this land. They're the ones, right? They're the one who because out in this place called Lakeville. Lakeville is like out in the country. It's probably about a good 45 minutes to an hour away from the city. So a group bought all of this land out there in Lakeville, but the land really wasn't for this equity firm group who bought the land. Somehow, some way, it turned over to the Somalis. They got all this land out there now.
Wait a minute. But hang on a second. Can you? I didn't know you could buy land and have a title and whatever unless you had like your status was correct. You know
No,
like how?
no, everything they're doing is underhanded.
Jesus.
Yeah, and that's the problem. That's the problem that we're having. It's the same way how they got into the being a mayor in this place called St. Louis Park. St. Louis Park. We used to call St. Louis Park Jewish Park because all the Jewish people lived in St. Louis Park. Somehow, some way, and we haven't figured this out, and everybody's been trying to figure out how did they get a Somali person elected mayor in a Jewish community.
Hold on a second. This is a Somali who is a legal immigrant, right? I mean, he's in the country legally, or he's like, I mean, he's got to be in the country legally.
No, they brought this person in from New York, right? So the Democrats brought this person in from New York, and they tried to run her in certain districts here in Minnesota. She did not win. So they somehow she ended up moving to St. Louis Park, and they parked her there in St. Louis Park for a while, and some way somehow they got enough people that they took out of Riverside because that's where all of them start. Put all these people over in St. Louis Park, so they got enough people now in St. Louis Park to outvote the people of St. Louis Park.
Oh, now I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
the person. Wait a minute. So the person who is running is not an illegal immigrant. She's a legal resident.
yes.
But they're using. Oh, wait a minute. But the voters, the people who voted her in, they're like, what's their status?
Basically white liberal. White liberals are killing the state of Minnesota.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
these white liberals. But here's the deal, Dex. They're doing it for power. It's not about. This isn't about helping the state of Minnesota. White liberals are all about power, right? And the people that they're putting in these seats, they can control these people. See, they can't control Negroes no more. These white liberals, right? They can't control us no more because we're like, nope, that's not happening. So what do they do next? They come up with the term "people of color," right? That's a white liberal term. Remember that?
The white liberal term. I always hated that term.
Right.
I always hated that term.
So
right.
They go people of color. So therefore, anybody that looks like you and me, Dexter, falls under that term. So now I can take right. So now I can take these people who are over here because we're giving them a better life. And I can control them to do what I want to when I put them in these seats. These white liberals here in Minnesota, it's about power.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. So that's what we're running into here in Minnesota. So the black folks here in Minnesota, I mean, we're in the back of the bus now. I mean, we're literally third in line right now. In the state of Minnesota.
Okay, so here's the question.
Yeah.
So here's the question. Tell me at least. I mean, now you're about to tell me the good news, right? You're about to tell me that never fear, right? The Republican Party, right? that wants to take Make America Great Again, and wants to the Republican Party has a counter strategy. And even now, as you and I are on the phone. The Republican Party is working on ways to counter this incursion, and they're looking to seed candidates and go and talk to Black Minnesotans and build political coalitions to fight back against these liberals. That's what you're going to tell me, right? Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Is this on?
that was your Reverend. That was a depressing ass silence, bro. that silence was depressing.
Is this on? That's
is this thing on?
Right.
Wow.
Dexter, wow. we have the same thing going on that you have there in New York. We have a socialist who is trying to be the mayor of Minneapolis. And here
and proud with it, huh?
Say he is loud and proud. I mean, literally will tell you that one of his things is getting rid of the police, literally getting rid of the police, doing whatever it takes to where we can vision. This is the part that cracks me up, Dexter. They say, well, we want to vision a time where a different type of public safety.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
There's no vision, Dexter. They don't have a vision.
I know what the thing is. The thing is that basically when there's a disturbance somewhere, you like they're not going to call the police. They'll send in some social workers to de-escalate the situation, and so and so forth, and it'll be a happy ending. Interesting.
Yeah. And like I said, I can understand a lot of things that we should not have the police doing, right? We should not have the police in the wintertime outside rustling up homeless people at 1 o'clock in the morning. I understand that. I understand that in certain cases, police officers should not be first one on site when it comes to somebody who's having a nervous breakdown. I understand that.
Right.
But to completely revamp the police department, it is nuts, bro.
I mean, the good news is I don't see how that could possibly happen. The bad news is that this person's ideas are so terrible that they feel perfectly comfortable saying that dumb shit out loud. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like, yeah.
He got the he got the endorsement of the Democrat. He won the endorsement.
Wait. The Democratic Party endorsed him?
Yes.
Wow. Because you see, here in New York, as the last I heard, when Zoran Mamdani won that primary, it's like he won it, but it's not like the Democratic Party didn't give them the attaboy. I don't know if that's changed since then, but that's what I've heard is that the Democrats here, they didn't really. I think because they seemed to think that it was too much too soon. Like he was just coming on really strong with free groceries or subsidized groceries and free bus service and all that business. And they thought that might be a problem. Wow.
No, here they're talking about having a public owned grocery stores throughout the Twin Cities. And exactly. So some people didn't understand. Oh, we're getting backfeed like crazy.
Hang on a second. You get noise?
I think there we go.
All right.
Just a little bit. It'll be all right.
Okay.
But people don't understand how that works. And it's sad that here in Minnesota, I'll go with what you was talking about. Okay. The Republicans coming in and seeing that black people are upset, right? Because that's what's going on. Because we are doing something to try to fight this whole situation, right? The reason the Republicans can't come into Hennepin County here in Minnesota is because they have a bad name, right? Republicans ain't never tried to do anything for black people. Like I told you before, Republicans fought the bill for black women's hair. So the hair bill?
No.
The discrimination, the discrimination against black women's hair in a workplace.
Oh, brother.
When they said that they was trying to put together a bill so that if two black women lived next door to each other, one black woman couldn't go over and do what we've been doing since the time we have been here in these units, is braid someone's hair. A black woman would have to.
Oh, you mean you have to ask? You mean you have to ask the state for permission to do your neighbor's hair?
You got to get a license to do your neighbor's hair, right?
Jesus, and Republicans did what now?
They fought that bill of saying, why do we need we don't need protection for a black woman in the workplace.
Well, you mean in her home, right? Because this is like literally like you can invite your neighbor over to your living room and you can just do her hair.
Right, and so Republicans were for that.
So let me get this straight. Like there was a bill before the legislature to get rid of the licensing requirement.
That's right.
Yeah?
That's right.
And Republicans and pro-business, pro-enterprise, pro-do-it-yourself, pro-personal responsibility Republicans fought, limited government Republicans fought that bill.
That's right.
Fought a bill to shrink the government.
That
Very good.
They didn't have. Yeah.
Okay.
So with with that and other things that went on with the Republican Party and way the Republican Party positioned themselves here in the state of Minnesota, Republicans can't go into Hennepin County. Most Republicans who run for office inside of Hennepin County have to be independents. You cannot say Republicans in Hennepin County. You can't at all. You don't win as a Republican in Hennepin County. Not here in Minnesota.
But you know what's very interesting, right? It's that this is the things, this is one of the things that you and I have been saying, and friends of ours like Sonny Johnson have been saying for a while, which is that, Republicans like to cry about not being able to get the black vote. But even when Republicans have a chance, right, to stand up for their core principles, for core Republican principles, in a way that happens to help black voters, they won't do it. They won't do it.
That's right.
They're only limited government. They're only limited government when they're in the suburbs or when they're somewhere else. But as far as like where we live, they turn right back into status. Yeah, this is disgusting. I just heard.
Okay.
1 minute warning, so I'm going to drop and call you back.
Okay, sounds like a deal. We'll talk to you on the backside.
Yeah. All right.
The caller has hung up.
All right. Hello. Happy Sunday to each and every one of you. For those who are new, hanging out with us right now, this is our Dexter Sundays. Hopefully we can get this back on the road. We took a break there for a little bit. I know on my side, my grandson plays baseball, and baseball took pretty much all my Sundays and all my weekdays here lately. But we're back. And for those who don't know what we're doing here, I want you to understand that we have Dexter Taylor on the line. And Dexter is calling us from prison in the state of New York. Dexter Taylor is what we call our political prisoner, who was put in prison for doing something that we feel and the Constitution gives him every right to do, and that is to put together firearms. Well, the state of New York decided that they wanted to violate every rule there is and violate Dexter's rights and put Dexter in prison. They offered Dexter a lighter sentence, but Dexter said, no, I'm not taking it because I'm not guilty. And they gave this man 10 years. There's people who run people over in a car on purpose looking to knock that don't get 10 years. But this man got 10 years for putting firearms together, which is nuts, bananas. So we're fighting on Dexter's case, and we're doing everything we possibly can do. We have done that to get his name out there. So if you're new with us, that is pretty much what's going on. So we get in touch with Dexter and talk with him, find out what's going on. And Dexter and I chop it up and talk about this or talk about that type thing. And if you got anything to ask, anything to say, you can also write it on here. And I try to get to as many of those as I possibly can on here. Or you can go to my page or Carl's page and put a message on one of those also for Dexter. But if you're hanging out with us tonight, if you don't mind just retweeting the space out for us, and we'll get as many people on as we possibly can. And like I said, this whole thing is to bring light to Dexter's case. As many people as we can get this out to, as many people as we can get to see this, maybe it hit somebody big. I know Dana Lausch or Los, if you know who Dana is, actually kind of brought the attention of Dexter's case to Don Jr. I don't know what Don Jr. did with it, but, hopefully, Don went and told his dad, hey, you know, one of those deals. Are we back, Dex?
Yeah, I
Oh,
can hear you.
there he is. There he is.
Yep.
Sounds
Yeah.
like a deal.
Yeah.
So
you
know what?
Rev, mhm.
We got a serious storm going through right now because all my stuff just flashed on and off. So if I go black here, I'm just saying that's because I have no power in my house. But we got a serious storm going on right now. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. I mean, a couple times the thunder and I'm shocked my dog isn't running around upstairs right now.
Right? Crazy.
With everything's going on. But getting back to what we was talking about before, with this socialism coming into forefront right now, it is a scary situation because, like I was saying, what they want to do here, Dexter, is they want to have public owned grocery stores.
Oh boy.
Exactly.
What's interesting is April Chapman did a I think it was April Chapman did a YouTube video on this whole public grocery store thing. Apparently, there's an existing one in, I want to say, Kansas City, and it's a mess. Like, it's a mess. You know, they detailed this whole thing. They did a news story on it locally about, the shelves are never properly stocked. The place is filthy. It smells like human waste. It's not clean. I mean, it's just like a complete mess, And that's kind of, when you think about it, that's kind of how these folks look at it. What makes it so bad is this. I pointed out, after we won, my mom played the video for me, and afterwards I pointed out to her that, what is often the case, and it turns out that it was the case in this particular instance, is like there's a nonprofit. So in other words, the state or the city doesn't actually administer the grocery store. What they'll do is some nonprofit corporation, often run by a friend of someone in power, will get the contract to run this place. And then this nonprofit organization will have a couple people at the top making a huge salary, on a huge salary. And then they get to, take this money that's coming from the city or the state or whatever, from the government, and, figure out how to make the thing work. And of course, since there's no formula that can tell you like, well, how much should someone pay for a can of beans? How much should what do you mean by an affordable can of beans? What's an affordable head of lettuce? What's an affordable, right? They just, they have these people who have no idea what they're doing, and don't bother to actually make sure the place is clean and it's not well run, but it's not officially it's not the state, it's some nonprofit that's running the thing. And so yeah, here we go again with aiding and abetting the nonprofit industrial complex,
but it's taxpayers' money, though, dude.
Taxpayers,
right?
Government money, but what I really mean is the taxpayer money. That's the problem. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly
So,
right.
so
giving them your money, right?
Yeah. So when what has been happening to these corporate ran grocery stores that are closing down in black communities, because that's where they're closing down, because they have been robbed. The criminality inside and outside of these stores are something that these stores cannot bear. So they take and put a public ran taxpayers
Funded.
funded grocery store in that very area. And when these crackheads go in and steal laundry detergent for $25 and then go on the streets and sell it for $10, they're not even going to count that as a loss.
Right.
Because this is taxpayers it's not their money that they need to care they should care about, right? You understand?
Well, the money, the government can't run out of money. They'll just tax you more.
That's right.
They're good to go.
That's right. And you would think that you look at that and go, wow, somebody has to fight this situation. Somebody needs to come in and tell people why that's wrong. Because a lot of times the problem with us, Dexter, is we're not going to believe people who look like us. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, I have to say, I know what you mean. I don't know if that's true. I mean, let's be fair, right? I think a lot of times what happens is they choose, in other words, okay, so if they're, to the extent that the Republicans are even interested in fighting back against this stuff, okay, they don't take the fight back seriously, right? In other words, they're not going to go and find someone who is actually, which they could do if they wanted, find someone from the community who actually understands why this thing is destined to fail, why it's failing, why it's a bad idea. They won't do that. They'll get someone from outside. They'll get some influencer. They'll get some, and they'll make a half-assed attempt. In the same way that they didn't bother when who was it who ran for? Did he run for governor of California or mayor of Oakland? I forget. I think it was Larry Elders.
Larry Elders.
They ran him for governor of California, was it? Or
yeah,
mayor of some city?
It was mayor.
Mayor of Oakland, let's say. But whatever the case was, like they didn't bother getting someone who had roots in the community, who people knew, who people trusted. They didn't bother with all that. They said, well, Larry was influence. Just let him go with influence. But that's just not the way it works in the brick and mortar world. I mean, on the internet, maybe you could say, yeah, we're going to have, a guest star on this podcast, and it's Larry Elder. And if you're into that kind of thing, you'll be like, okay, yay, Larry Elder. But, in terms of actual politics and the actual political fight, you need people on the ground who not just know what's going on, but actually have connections. And I really have not seen Republican strategists take that approach. So I'm not ready yet. I mean, again, if I see information to the contrary, I'll change my mind. But I'm not ready yet to say that it's some special defect that black folks have. I think it's like everything else. You have to have people who have some level of trust in the community already. And also, the other problem, let's face it, is that the Republican Party has not covered itself in glory. I mean, you just mentioned how, that they voted against this bill that would have increased, would have been a godsend to black entrepreneurship. So you can't blame people for not trusting the operatives of a party that operates like that. If you think, right, if Republicans are always saying we have to be fair, and you and I, and you know me, you know I'm very conservative. We have to be fair. Republicans are always saying, well, pull yourself up, do this, self-reliance, responsibility, okay. Now you have something where, well, hey, this Democrat government is making it either impossible or ruinously expensive for black folks in a certain part of the city to turn their skill sets into prosperity. And instead of saying, well, hey, we have a chance to push back again, to show that we mean what we say, and what do? Well, they punked out. Is it a surprise that people don't trust them?
No, not really.
Right? I mean, that's the thing. It's not like us. It's like black people. It's like this. Look, governance is a trust thing. It is a matter. People have to trust you to some extent. You know, and a lot of people might make the decision to just go with the devil they know if they're faced with someone who doesn't have a track record and doesn't seem interested in building one. That's my take on it. Again, you might be right. There may be some special thing, but again, I haven't seen that. What I have seen is that, people, the strategists who run this kind of thing, don't think. I mean, I'll give you a parallel example. If Republicans wanted to run in some coal mining community somewhere out in the Midwest, let's say, well, they'd probably try to get someone who was a former coal miner, who knew the struggles of the people who actually lived there. If they're trying to get some heavily agricultural, they'll probably get someone who used to be a farmer, who was in agriculture, who knows the ins and outs, who knows the struggle. Okay, but what? So what do they do when they come to Minneapolis? I didn't pick some random person. Yeah, go and talk to them. What? Why? So yeah, that's my take.
Right. So we've got to figure this thing out,
Yes, sir.
and how
Yes, sir.
to slow this train down, because it is getting to the point to where we are losing. We're somewhat. I don't see Minnesota being the same in 5 years, and I know a lot of people don't understand that because they don't see what I get to see. They don't hear what I get to hear. But I don't see Minnesota being the same in about 5 years, because one of the things we talk about our teachers and our schools are running a deficit. And one of those reasons is because we have let so many people in here that they have to hire teachers, right? Who knows all these different languages, right?
Right. Exactly.
And that's hurting.
Where they could learn military. Yeah.
That's right.
That's right.
So that's hurting the schools, and when the schools hurt, the areas hurt, and that's pretty much what's going on here in Minnesota. And every time the white liberals take a bushel of people out of one area and then resettle them in another area, then that turns that area into the same thing that's going on everywhere else in Minnesota.
Well, I mean, like you have to have. The problem is that what I often say is that if the right guy doesn't win the election, it's a politics problem. If there is no right person to vote for in the election, right? You have a political culture problem. And I think that's what we have, and not just in Minnesota, in many parts of the United States. We have a political culture problem. We have an out of control left, and we have an out of ideas right. Right? We have an out of stamina right.
All right.
We have a conservative party that just doesn't have any real fight in it. I mean, they'll talk spicy on social media. Oh, they're good at
yeah.
that. The influencers. Oh, they will talk very spicy on social media. Oh, yeah, you people. In terms of actual fight back, nothing. I think they still are living in the midst of the isolated zip code, right? I think they're still, and you know what I mean when I say this, they're still living in this fantasy where, yeah, things are bad here and here and here and here, but as long as I live in the right zip code, I'll be fine.
Right.
and we can just sit back and watch the rest of it burn. They still think that that's a thing. And I don't know what it's going to take for them to realize that that is not, in fact, a thing. I don't know, brother. I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird, but to sit back and watch this happen, knowing who's behind it, I would think the Republicans here would throw shoot up that flare and go, we can't let this happen. We can't let Minneapolis, no matter how bad we always talk about. See, and that's the thing about the Republicans here. Oh, they'll talk bad about Minneapolis like you wouldn't believe.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Oh,
They always do that. But they will not go and do anything about what's going on.
Well, I mean, listen, you have to give Republicans credit, right? They're always talking about being the budget conscious party, right? And talk is cheap. Like, well, we'll talk about it. Yeah, but it's, well, here's the thing, really. I think that ultimately the solution is going to have to come from populist conservatives. It's going to come from the bottom. It's going to come from people who have kind of made a conservative pushback. I don't care what you call it, against these Democrats, but it's going to have to come from people who are on the ground, who are in these places, who are in the cities, and that's just how it is. And maybe if that gets big enough, then and starts to score wins, then the National Party will become interested. But I think even the state party will become interested. But I think depending on which jurisdiction you're talking about, I simply don't think that if you're trying to fight back against these out and proud socialists who want to run the police even further into the ground than it already is, it seems clear you can't count on help from the supposed conservative party, which is a shame.
Well,
it's a crying shame.
Yeah, exactly. We are in a situation, but here's the thing about this, Dexter. It's like here in Minnesota, we're at a point to where people now, because of the shooting and the murder of one of our leaders at the Capitol, it's hard for people to say things now because everything is seen as rhetoric. Everything seems as a threat. You know what I mean?
But wait a minute. Hang on a second now.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on a second.
Go ahead.
From what I heard of this incident, right? This woman who was shot. I believe she and her husband were shot, and he survived.
No. Melissa Hortman, her and her husband died. The Hoffman and his wife survived.
Oh, survived. Okay,
yes.
My bad.
Yeah.
Okay, so this couple that died. Now, hadn't the shooter been hired to run security by one of these top Democrats in the state? Wasn't he working for one of these people in some capacity?
I am not. There had been rumors swirling around that he had something to do with some on both sides.
Well,
that he.
Well, here's what I'm saying. But no, I'm talking about the rumors because remember, I don't have internet in here. So
Right.
I read that on the AP Newswire.
Yeah, that
he had been an employee of one of the top Democrats in some capacity.
Yeah. He was something.
Like officially on the books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On there. So
and the reason I'm asking that is why would, in other words, so it'd be one thing if he was some, you could think him like a crazed left winger, or a crazed right winger. then if you say something conservative, they're going to say, "Oh, you blah 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 blah." But it's like he was, he was one of them.
No,
Like,
no. See, and that's where everything gets murky. Because when they read his papers and the things that he says and all of that, no.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why a lot of the right wing here stopped talking about him.
Okay.
Because he was a little closer to that side than he was for the people that, like you say, he actually worked for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I see.
Yeah.
Okay. But again, here's what's funny. Like, why, or strange, I should say. Like, why? In other words, that would seem to be a very good reason to tap down on like incendiary rhetoric. But then again, if your goal is to actually bring clarity, right, to the people who you want to serve, then you should probably always tamp down on incendiary rhetoric. You're just on your own initiative, just because you want to shed light, not create heat. But how does, in other words, so what, Republicans in Minnesota feel that they can no longer talk about conservative issues?
No. Everybody can. Everybody can do that. But if you were to, if I was to sit here and say that the guy who is, which he is, he's Muslim, who's trying to take over Minneapolis, mayor of Minneapolis, if I was say, these Somalis have gone from being liberals to socialists here in Minnesota, everybody get mad at me for saying that, but it's true.
Okay.
It's it's true. But
well, I mean, here's the good news, though, right? Like, you don't have to. Like, in other words, I don't have to. Like, put it this way, I understand what you're saying. So if I were a Republican in that scenario, I would say, well, we don't have to say. In other words, like, these people we're talking about is people with terrible ideas. That's the thing. It's like I'm perfectly happy to say, listen, this person's ideas are bad, and here's why. There is too much government, and here's why. The progressives have had their boot on your neck for thus many years, and here's why. And here's what we can do to stop it. So I hear what you're saying, but it's like, it seems strange to me that Republicans can't come up with a coherent rhetorical strategy at the very least against these Democrats and against these liberals and progressives, just because it's some crazy shout from Democrats. It's like, and look, yes, it's very true that Democrats will take any excuse or no excuse to call someone racist. But again, here we have to be fair. Republicans seemingly don't know how to counter that strategy. They don't know how to counter it, and that's the problem. For example, in other words, I don't have to go after an ethnic group. I don't even have to call attention to an ethnic group. I could say, look, the people who live in this area have a lot of talent that's being wasted by a government that doesn't care about them, that wants to keep them. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like there's a lot of shit they could say that they're not saying.
Sure.
So it's like I don't know if I buy their excuse that we can't talk honestly now because again, they haven't. Put it this way: in years when there wasn't a recent shooting of top Democrats in Minnesota, what was Republican rhetoric like then? Were they doing any better job of standing up for the people who live in, for example, your part of Minneapolis? Nope. So it can't be the case that now that they simply can't, that they're muzzled because this thing happened. They're muzzled because they want to be muzzled. Is my cynical take on it. You know, they don't want to speak up. They don't speak up because they don't want to speak up. And that's the I mean, look. All you have to do is look at a different city, like New York, right? Who do we have? I mean, okay, so we have Zoran Mamdani, an out and proud socialist, right?
Who's running against him? I didn't.
Right. So who's running against him? Well, of course you've got Andrew Cuomo, which I still think is a very unfunny joke, running for mayor. He lost the primary, so now apparently he's thinking about running for independent. You have Eric Adams, again, not funny, who's also running as an independent. And on the so-called conservative side, who do you have? You have Curtis Lewa.
So
who asked is Curtis Lewa? Well, he was one of the founders of the Guardian Angel, like back in the 1970s, 1980s.
Yeah.
So where's the Red Beret? And it's like he hasn't won any. I mean, he's run before, and he really can't. He's not really electable because his campaign's never gotten anywhere. So I mean, it's like there's not even any decent conservative opposition to this guy, Mamdani, which is insane to me. Again, I think that so what we have is a broken political culture. You know, yeah, I don't know. Not looking good, bro. It's all looking very iffy right now.
I know, man. It is unbelievable right now with everything that's going on, and you sit back and go, wow, because you don't know which end of the stick to fight with. It's like if while I'm fighting over here, while I'm fighting socialism, right? I've got these knuckleheads over here doing something totally, I got to figure out how these guns and everything is getting into the community, and these kids are killing each other with it. Okay, do I go over here and fight for these kids who are killing themselves, or do I go over here and fight to make sure that we don't turn into a state of just overrun socialism? So it's like I'm juggling right now, man. So
well, I mean, I think to me, like the way I've always seen it is that it never hurts to kind of go back. When you're in a situation like that, to me, it never hurts to go back to core principles. You know what I'm saying? It's like the core principle of the family, the core principle of community, and the core principle of enterprise, right? Like, so, families, communities, and kind of people making a living. That's where it always, to me, it always comes down to that. And it's just, to me, at least, when I look at New York and other blue cities, I see any number of ways where the Democrats have been against the family, they've been against the community, and they've been against people's ability to make a living. And to me, all our ills come from that. So if you ask me, whether you ask me about government-run grocery stores, or you ask me about welfare dependency, or you ask me about kids in the street killing each other, it all comes back down to those three things. Family, community, and industry, essentially, prosperity, work, right? Yeah. But again, we don't have a conservative party that's willing to kind of go back and talk about core principles and really fight for them as if those core principles matter.
Right.
And really, I have to say, it's easier for them to talk about ethnicity, right? That's these people, then talk about, listen, this is where it's at for people score here. Anyway, I just heard the Minute Maid chime in, so I'm going to drop and call you back.
I'll see you in a minute. Thanks, bro.
All right, bro.
Thank you for using Securus. The caller has hung up. Thank you for using Securus. Goodbye.
All righty. That is Dexter Taylor. Like I said, if you're new here, Dexter is... I can't hear him on the YouTube feed, but I can hear you. You can't hear Dexter on the YouTube feed. I have to figure out what's going on there. I didn't realize that on the YouTube feed. Okay, thanks for letting me know that. I will see if I can't look into that. I'll see if I can look into that YouTube feed and see what's going on. You know, I don't do much on that YouTube feed, which I should actually put some time into promoting and building, doing something different to build that YouTube feed. I've just got to get somebody in here who knows computers a lot better than I, so that can look like an actual page or an actual something that's going on. So Spike says, I hear Dex on the YouTube. Okay. So, okay. Busy. See if you can't go in and go out of that and see if you'll get it there or not. And then we'll go from there. But if not, then I don't know if that's on my end or not. So, and then we'll go from there. I'll get my kid over here and have him take a look at it. He's the one that does all this stuff. I am, like I said, I can, hey Spike, what's that generator thing you got? Cause we're going through, we're about to go through hell here in a minute. I went and I looked outside and I can hear it. And if the power goes off here, I'm in trouble. What is that thing that I'm looking at look like a Jackery or something like that you got? I got to get one of those. So if the power goes out, then I don't have to worry about nothing. Which the power didn't go off much during the, that's a Jackery. You can buy them on Amazon. Okay. Sounds like a deal. Can that power up lights and all that stuff too, or is that just...
We bet, Reverend Tim.
Sounds like a deal. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I'm sitting here trying to figure out what am I gonna do, Dexter, if my power goes out? Because like I said, it's getting pretty bad outside.
You don't have an emergency generator or nothing?
No. I've got. You know what? I do have a generator, but I have not taken that thing in, or I have not started it, because usually the power here is so good. It really never goes out. My power hasn't been out in, I would say, about 5 years. So I have not started that thing to see if it even worked in about 5 years. You know, I'm so worried about my snowblower and my lawnmower that I completely forget about that thing. But I see something. One of the people that I follow, and he follows me. He's got this Jackery thing, look like, and it has an AC and a DC adapter. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that. Looks like he just plugs it in and be ready to go.
Well, that's a battery, right?
Yes, sir.
That's basically a battery, right? So, that's good, to keep you going for a little bit, but that won't keep your fridge running. That'll keep your laptop or your phone or, some little thing like that
Right.
going for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason I would want something. I would want something like that, so to make sure that if the wife needs to work from home, that we can plug that up to the internet and get the internet going and her laptop going and a couple other things. But my big generator I got outside, man. I haven't started that thing in about 5 years, dude. I'm afraid. I got to take it to a small engine.
Yeah, you're supposed to run that shit every few months.
Yeah.
To make sure that. Did you put
No.
gas in or just regular gas?
No, just regular gas that's in there. So I'm sure it's
so
gonked up.
If that gas has got Ethan, it's gunked up a little bit. You might have to get that repaired.
Yeah. On that.
Yeah, brother. Yeah, it's interesting how well, here's the good news. The solar panels.
Well, you know what? You're right. And I thought about I so thought about that, brother.
When it's dark outside, you can pull up the solar panels. Yeah.
I thought about that because here in Minnesota they was running this deal to where it's almost like after a while the solar panels start paying for themselves. They actually start sending you a check.
I was kind of joking because it's like, solar panels, sure, if you live in the right part of the country where you're getting sun for the right amount of time and there's enough sunny days, then you'll generate enough electricity to sell back to the grid. But that's not going to help you if the power goes out. Because, again, the power goes, if there's a storm, then, it's probably not sunny out. And so you're probably not generating power.
Right. So
that's
I'll be in trouble either way. But I got to get mine.
you'd be totally right.
Yeah, I got to get my generator going because if like I said, but like I said, the power, our power company here is so good. And like I said, I don't even remember the last time our power even flickered like it's been doing. Yeah, like it's been doing right now. Yeah, so I was like, holy smoke, okay, we better get ready. Go find the candles. So I can hear the wife walking around looking for the candles and everything. So just in case. Just in case. Yeah. So I was like, oh, well.
Hopefully it'll be all right.
So so you do have the internet there, right? You can see certain
I can see whatever's on this. Like, I can't access the public internet. I can't access websites. So
okay.
Nothing like that. There is an AP Newswire app on the tablet, so I can see whatever articles show up on that app. There's also a Reuters newsfeed app that I can look at. But no, there's no internet to speak of. I can't.
Okay, so you have yet to hear about this. What they're actually trying to use now to say black people are bad or start a race war. You haven't seen this video?
Oh, I've heard. Keep in mind, right? I've been. I would put it this way: I was online when social media meant dial-up. Dial-up bulletin board systems.
Right.
And so I've been hearing that. Shit on and off since the 90s, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's gonna be a race war. When it pops up, I don't really think anything of it because every couple of years I hear that bullshit.
Right.
It's just,
so
I'm like, okay.
So I give you a little bit of play-by-play of what's going on with this situation that's happening right now as we speak.
Yeah.
Okay, so in Cincinnati, apparently a bunch of black people. If you look at the video from the right wing side, they're only going to show you the part of the video where all the black people are jumping this white man. Right? That's all you get.
Let me back and say. So wait a minute. Then was this a general? Was this like a general disturbance, or was this like some dude got jumped?
So they're at a jazz fest.
Okay.
And
Jazz fest in Cincinnati.
Yep, in Cincinnati. So there's this jazz fest that was going on. So it's according on whose video you get to see.
Mm-hmm.
If you see the video that a bunch of white people are putting out, they're going to show you a video of the black people beating up on the white people.
Okay.
That's what you're going to see. And that's the video that they're using, and they're running around calling black people animals, and it's always them, and black fatigue.
Okay, but wait a minute.
Uh-huh.
But what actually happened? What actually happened at this jazz fest?
Okay. So if you get to see everybody else's video, you're going to see the part where the white man punches the black man in the face.
Okay.
The black man goes after the white man because the white man punched him, and all hell broke loose.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was a brawl. So there was a brawl. There was a brawl at a jazz fest.
That's right.
And our ethnically anxious brethren use that to make hay for their little race war type of thing.
That's right.
So that's, I mean,
But the white couple and the white people that was there were outnumbered.
Mhm.
So now you got you know how we are. When we get into a fight, when mom and them and the cousins all show up, right? Everybody gets some. And that's pretty much what happened. This white couple and a couple other white people that was there, they were all outnumbered, and they got beat up. So you'll see that part from you. The only part you're gonna see from some of the white conservative, white Republicans who are putting this out, you're only gonna see the part where black people are beating up on white people. That's all you get to see. Okay.
Well, that's not. I mean, that's nothing. I mean, the idea of people cutting things up and putting their plans on. I mean, that's nothing new. You know, including in this. You know, with the racial angle, right? That we see. In other words, we see that all the time.
Right.
Right. So yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just funny to me how people can take something like that, right, and sit and act like that's the culture. That's all black people.
Well, look,
that's Dexter. That's Rev.
Well, look. I mean, I hear what you're saying, bro, but I mean, I got to say it. To me, man, it's just I have a hard time caring. I really do, because again, every couple of years you see this shit. It's
right.
You know, and there's always a bunch of people who are going around. I mean, look, I've had people. Let me say, I've had white folks who lost the argument on mathematical grounds. I've had them send me made up statistics that they claimed were from a government document. I'm like, okay, well, I've just downloaded the government document. I have it in front of me. Which page did you take this table from? And they refused to answer. Oh, I won't do your work for you. No, I did the work. I downloaded the document from the Department of Justice. You know, tell me what page you took this table from. And they won't answer. And it's like, right, because I know that this is made up, because the data bins are not the same, the formatting is not the same, nothing is the same. You're lying, right? So if people will do that shit, bro, of course they're going to take a brawl in a jazz fest where some white folks got beat up, and they're going to turn it into, it's going to be a race holy war. I'm sorry, bro, but I have a hard time caring about it. Like,
I understand, but I just look at it and say sometimes we've got to be smarter than this. We've got to be, because a lot of black people right now are kind of blacking out and getting upset and I just say everybody, not just black people, white people. We just got to be smarter because Twitter is probably one of the most nastiest apps out here right now today.
No,
Twitter is bad.
Have you ever, wait, hang on a second. Have you ever been on Telegram?
Who?
Have you been on Telegram?
What's Telegram?
Telegram. It's another social media app. You been on Telegram?
No, I'm gonna write this down.
No? Okay, listen. You should say Twitter is the nastiest, not even close.
Really?
Not even close.
Wow.
Oh, my God. That's what I'm saying. So I just don't, it's like, I don't care, bro. I mean, look, I've been in Telegram and have people come straight out and say, wow, we don't like niggers. And and it's like, I'm like, yeah, okay, no problem. Like,
Telegram.
Telegram, yes.
Okay.
I mean, again, it depends on where you go, obviously, because it's like you go to, if you have a chat group that's into, I don't know, tulip gardening, then that's what they're talking about. But yeah, there are groups on there where they they have their whole ethnic obsession and they talk about, black people, there's the pop, and, you niggers. Okay, so, I mean, in other words, look, put it this way. You said we all need to be smarter. I mean, I think we all need to just get about our business, really. I don't see, for example, these people who are saying this, the posting of black people bad videos. I mean, yeah, they're getting some engagement because how would you not? How many Twitter users are there? There's a huge number of Twitter users. You're going to have some people who resonate with that or who like it. Some people who like it because they really do hate black folks. Some people like it because they just like the transgressive feel of saying something that you wouldn't say in polite company. Whatever the case is, I've really come to the opinion that it just doesn't matter. It just doesn't. I mean, compared to what's actually happening in the country, the fact that people will I mean, you've seen, bro. People will use, people who are thinking, who are obsessed with that, people who are obsessed with pornography, okay, are going to see titties everywhere. I'm just being honest. The people you're talking about, right, the racists who say, oh, look at how black people, those people posting those bits, they are addicted to pornography.
Not true.
We've discussed this before.
Yeah.
Right? Because that is a pornographic view of the world. It's a pornographic view of so-called race, ethnicity. That's what that is. By the way, black folks who are like, America's slavery. Those people, they're also addicted to pornography, right? The white liberals who were teaching in schools that America is a bad place because slavery and black folks have always been oppressed and oppression. They are addicted to pornography. Now, my question is what is the what's kind of the why do we? I mean, yes, being smarter is good. Working smarter is good. Having better strategies is good to get what we need to get done to do our work. But what is the strategy I need to adopt to get a porn addict to snap out of it? Well, I'm sorry, I'm not interested in porn addicts. I'm just not. I mean, sorry. Seriously.
Right.
Some white dude in the suburbs or in the city, for that matter, who is addicted to pornography. Well, do your thing, bro. Don't get any on me. That's all right. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? That's kind of where I've come to. Cause how long are we going to keep reacting to this shit? How long are we going to say, oh, this is it? Bro, it's just a porn addict. And here's what's really funny. You know what I found surprisingly little racial animosity? Right here in prison.
Huh?
I mean, think about it. Right here in prison.
They don't.
Right
wait a minute.
Here in prison.
I thought we watch these movies.
Right.
Right. You know where I'm going with this.
All the Latinos are in the one corner and they're right, and they're giving harsh looks to the blacks who are in their one corner, and all the white guys are in the whole corner. Yeah, bro, that's just not how it is. I'm sorry. It wasn't that way in Greenhaven. It wasn't even that way in Rikers. It wasn't that way in Elmira, where I was in long-term reception, and it's not that way here. Sorry. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Do you know what I'm saying? White dudes and black dudes walk around the yard together, talk shit, bust each other's chops, get high. I mean, I'm sorry. I just,
Maybe we should all go to prison for a little bit and get the hate out of our hearts.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I'm not. Yeah, let's not do that. Listen, by all means, send Zoran Mamdani to prison because look here, this is his socialist utopia. You don't have the right to have weapons. You don't have the right to self-defense of any kind, and there's government-run grocery stores you can buy from.
Oh,
listen. It's climate friendly because everyone gets wet. It's climate friendly because everyone lives in a really small apartment, right? And it's just and you pack as many people into a given space as possible, and it's government-run healthcare. So, like Zoran Mamdani, I think he should definitely come in here with me. We're better get trade places.
Yeah, there you go.
And he can experience his social. But as far as racial animosity, after a while, I came to realize that this is a particular view of a bunch of like cats who are from Hollywood, California, and yeah, I have no doubt that in the California system, it's different. So maybe what's happening over there, they think it's happening here. But yeah, no, bro, no. I mean, look, put it this way: the last time I saw a white dude get beat up, it was another white dude beating him up. I mean, I'm just being honest.
Right.
I remember that day we were in the yard, and it's like white dude's getting beat up. It was a one-on-one. Who's beating him up? Oh, another white. And like I know the guy. I was like, oh shit, he's beating that dude's ass. Okay, dude. I mean, so you see what I'm saying? Like, so in terms of like, there's a lot of wishful thinking, right? From a lot of these porn addicts because they're like, wait, you know, it's like it's the boogaloo. It's like it's gonna jump off. It's happening right now. You know, and every time there's something, it's like it's happening right now. Every fucking time, they're like, yeah, it's about to jump. This is it, guys. Get ready. Okay. Back in 2020, right? Remember the summer 2020 when a bunch of Antifa dudes was running around acting the fool and
right.
was running around acting the fool and what is that? It's getting ready to jump off. It's happening. This is it. Get ready.
Right.
You know, stock up your can good. Right. Okay. What happened? Nothing really. You know. You know when the great viral freakout happened and COVID was doing its thing and the government was panicking and doing all this dumb shit. And people do this, it's gonna, like when people are locked down and contagion, and it's gonna happen. What happened? Like nothing. We just did a massive countrywide distance check on how dumb and gullible we all are. Listening to some of the dumb shit that our government's told us to do. Oh yeah, when you go to a restaurant, you can sit down. When you're sitting down, you don't have to wear a mask. When you stand up, you have to put your mask on. Really stupid? Really? You know what I'm saying? Like we actually saw the President of the United States, Joe Biden, on a replica of the Oval Office. Right? Remember that picture?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's a picture. They saw the news crews taking pictures of the set, and they saw a backdrop and the false walls and everything like that. And she's giving him the injection, and it's like, yeah, I bet you think that's the real. Everything about this is fake, but the injection is real. Okay, dummy. You know what I'm saying? So all that by way of saying, I can't bring myself to give a shit. I just can't. You know. And what's more, if these people are so obsessed with like black versus white versus black, and they can't see that they actually have that we all, irrespective of color, have a mutual enemy that has it in for all of us.
There you go.
If they can't see we have a mutual enemy that has been waging war on the American family, starting with the black American family. If we can't see that they've been pumping out all kinds of degeneracy, right, to mess up our kids' minds, all our kids, forever, if they can't see that they're mutilating children and that's their program now. If they still insist on, well, yeah, but this person has a different paint job, and therefore, I mean, I just can't. I can't. You know, as hard as I try, I can't bring myself to weep. Like I can't do it, bro. You're addicted to pornography, and God help them. You know what are you gonna do? You know, someone's addicted to pornography, and they're literally getting their rocks off in a burning house. Okay, like I'm gonna fight the fire, but by all means, you know, you seem to be comfortable in your chair, looking at porn. You've got plenty of lotion. Do your thing, bro.
Do you?
Me and my brethren,
Right?
My brethren of all colors are gonna go fight this here fire. That's it.
Well, I was trying to think of the name of the movie with Matthew McConaughey, and I literally just watched this movie. I'm so mad, but it's a movie about a rebellion, and I'll hopefully I can think of the name, but it's a movie about a rebellion where literally white poor people and black poor people work together to take over this town that they was fighting the Confederates, but they actually fought the government together and made a difference. And I think Matthew McConaughey is in this movie, and the wife and I had just watched it, and I cannot remember it for the life of me, but it is an awesome movie.
So it's like a historical type of thing.
Yeah. Yep. But
interesting.
Yep. But the message that came out of it is how, again, poor black people and poor white people, they came together and they fought the system and won. Right. And it's just sad that we can't look at history. This is where history is important. And this is one of the reasons why they don't want us to learn or understand history, because there's back in the day where we all worked together.
Well, I mean, the Dixon slave revolt, for example, was an interracial slave revolt. I mean, there was a real uprising that happened of slaves, and it was black and white slaves working together. I mean, but look, I would say that. I mean, I think you're needlessly pessimistic here. It's not that we can't do anything. It's like porn addicts can't do it. Okay, well, the porn addicts, look, bro, the pornography addicts among us are like the poor. We will have them with us always. That's just how it is.
Right.
You know, all we have to do is get about the business of doing the work that we need to do. That's it. We don't have to convince the porn addicts, not at all. We don't have to bring them around. We don't have to bring them to the table. We don't have to have a national discussion. Don't do any of that. You just have to get on with it.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine,
oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I understand what you're saying. I mean, you know, like I said, when it comes to us, everybody versus the government, I would take our chances together, right? You know what I mean? If we all came together, everybody, not just black and white, but anybody who looks at it and go, the government is just they're not doing what is actually supposed to be done here for anybody. They really are not.
Correct.
You know.
Correct.
So I'll take all of us together collectively to deal with the government before I would say somebody should go at it alone at the end of the day, you know.
Yeah. You know, so that's what I would say. It's like let the porn addicts have their fun, so called. You know, they you know, I mean, and especially in the age of social media and, non-linear editing, cheap non-linear editing, there's any number of ways that they can get their thrills. They can make, memes, and they can edit video clips, and they can do this, and they can that. So I mean, like have fun.
Yeah.
Just really have to, I can't bring myself to care that much about what they're just like. By the way, I can't really bring myself to care that much about what well, let's just say what a certain element of Black Twitter has to say about anything. I just can't do it.
I haven't been on Black Twitter. Now that you say that, I may have to go visit Black Twitter. I have not been on Black Twitter in a long time, man. So I don't know what the crash out is over there. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go visit Black Twitter and see what we're crashing out about.
It's always a crash out, and if there's not one, just look at your watch and wait. One will be along any old time now.
Right. So
it's really the same thing. Yeah,
So what's your 2 cents on this Epstein situation?
Oh yeah, the Epstein thing.
Yeah.
Well, here's what's interesting. I've always been kind of maybe either a skeptic or a cynic when it comes to this stuff. Oh wait a minute. We're like at 29 minutes, so yeah, I'm gonna drop and call you back so we can have a full go
Okay.
on this.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll be right back. Yeah.
See you in a minute.
The caller has hung up.
All right, people. Once again, like I say, if you're new, if you've never done this with us, just give you a heads up of what we're doing. Who you're listening to actually is Dexter Taylor. Dexter Taylor is actually calling from prison. He's literally in a cell as we're speaking. Dexter Taylor is doing 10 years in prison. Nope, he didn't murder anybody. He didn't assault anybody. He didn't threaten anybody. He didn't run over anybody. There was no crime that you can probably think of right now that that would give him 10 years. There's no crime that you can probably think of right now that gave him 10 years in prison that you can say, because he didn't do all of the things you probably sitting there going, holy smoke. Rev is on the phone with some dude that probably done killed somebody and they gave him, or probably done hurt somebody and they gave him 10 years, or he probably ran somebody over, blah, blah. No, I'm on the phone with who I consider, again, to be my political prisoner, because he's in prison right now for doing something that you have a right to do, and that is to build your own firearms. So the state of New York decided that they're going to add different layers to what a law-abiding citizen. Now, Dexter's never been in trouble, so let's make sure we understand that. He does not have a record. He never had a record. So that's number one I want you to understand. Number two, these parts that Dexter was buying from the store, he bought it with his credit card. That's pretty much how he got, how they looked at it and go, hey, let's go mess with Dexter Taylor. Here he is buying parts with his credit. Now, if I wanted to be sneaky, or if you wanted to be sneaky, you would not buy gun parts with your credit card so they can come look you up, correct? You would buy those parts with cash.
We're bad, Dusty.
Thank you much.
Hey,
All right, appreciate it. But you would buy that stuff with cash because you would be trying to hide. Dexter was not trying to hide. So that's why I'm telling you right now, you guys who are listening who are new, he's in prison for doing something that he had a right to do. So that's who we get to hang out with. That's who we get to talk with here in the whole nine. So all my lawn chairs and my umbrella and everything is all over my yard. So I'm gonna have to bounce off here. Let's do it. But I want to talk to you about Epstein before we get off. But I got apparently everything in my dang on backyard is up against my fence.
Okay. Yeah, you're gonna have to get that sorted out. Although if the wind is still picking up, you might want to wait until the storm is past.
Yeah, I'll take that stuff and throw it in. Well, I should have put it in. I didn't know it was gonna be this bad, or I would have put like I usually do. I take everything and just put it in my back garage, and that way.
I'm just saying.
I know.
I'm just saying, like I don't want you going out there to mess with lawn furniture in the middle of a storm and with branches flying and all kinds of things.
Right.
Like, wait till tomorrow, man. It's not gonna, it is already wet and out. It's not going to change between now and tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm just hoping I don't have to buy a new. I have to buy a new umbrella, and that thing. I'm crossing my fingers. It's not bent. Oh my goodness, I am.
Yeah.
But we. Go ahead and. What's your mindset on that?
Well, so here's the thing. The first thing is that I always let's go back to who and what Jeffrey Epstein was. Right, he was someone who had a lot of money, who was connected to a lot of rich, famous, and influential people. And among his other activities, he was trafficking.
But hold on one second.
Well,
yeah. But you just said something that I don't understand, and I don't think a lot of people. Where did this man get his money?
Well, I don't know where he got his money.
Exactly.
What I'm saying is because he might have been rich. He might have been rich before he started trafficking women and children.
Okay.
What I'm saying is this. It's like, he was engaging in this illicit traffic. It is illicit and immoral traffic. Okay. Now, and then he gets snapped up, and his assistant gets snapped up, and he ends up quote unquote killing himself. Released in custody. All right.
Yeah.
And, even when they show, apparently they showed the videos, this video was all, and it was still an edited video. So it's like, okay, where's the footage that shows that's supposed to show definitively that he actually did kill himself? As far as I know, no such video has been produced. All right, and the circumstances of his death kind of suggest foul play. Okay. Now, keeping a very kind of loose and kind of detached and skeptical attitude about everything. Okay. The funny thing to me about, first of all, let's look at the right wing response. That's right, the left wing response to all the latest stuff first. The left wing response, and I was actually a little bit surprised when I started seeing this. The left wing response is, haha, see how your stupid conspiracy theory has come to nothing. And I'm like, well, hang on a second. It's like sometimes I think people let their politics interfere with their reasoning to the point where they start to really not make sense. In other words, look, whatever the facts actually are, if and when they do ever finally shake out, it is not crazy to believe that this guy killed himself. Again, we're standing back at one remove. We're being detached and cool about it. Okay, I wasn't there. I don't know. But it is not crazy to think he killed himself, for God's sake. And then, the whole thing of, well, these stupid conservatives, they thought there were going to be names and contact information, and it's like, well, bro, if he was in contact with people, then, well, presumably there were contacts somewhere. On paper, on a device, on a phone, or a computer, some fucking where. It's not crazy to think that he was actually in contact with people. And that therefore, if you got those contact records, it might show that, actually, yeah, he was doing business with this and that person. this famous person, and wow, this you know, there was some malfeasance going on. Right? I mean, you were running this kind of criminal empire, right, and hobnobbing with the rich and famous, including people in government or people adjacent to government. And well, it's fair to ask, well, how you managed to evade detection for so long. And then you have your assistant. Well, you know, again, what do the assistants of you know, wealthy people do who are doing whatever their enterprise is? Well, they keep records and they take notes and they what have you. Okay, it's not crazy to think that she had some notes somewhere that might shed some light on who this scumbag was doing business with. But here you have, again, simply because people do not like this president. And again, by all means, don't like the president. I happen to think that not liking presidents is an excellent habit. I wish my brethren on the left would practice it a bit more, a bit more democratically. I wish they'd get out of the habit of loving any president whatsoever.
Right.
Yeah, I guess for all my brethren, left or right, stop loving presidents.
There we go.
Right. View all of them through a lens of relaxed contempt. Because at the end of the day, all the president is the person we hired to run a machine. So don't fall in love with this individual. So I get it, but the idea that like because you don't like this president, it's like everything. Oh, he's trying to get the thing, and there's no information. Really, there's no information. Really, that's what lefties are telling us now. There's no information, and the joke's on you. There's no information anywhere. So there's no information on Hunter Biden's laptop about anything he was. I mean, he was filming himself, cavorting with crack rocks the size of grapefruits and Russian hookers in the background. But there's no information there. There's no information on any of Jeffrey Epstein's devices. There's no information on his assistant's device. No information on paper. Nothing to tell us who he was doing business with. Really? Is what we're expected to believe, and because we don't believe it, like I'm crazy, I'm out of control because I don't believe that. Come on, So that's what I'm saying. Is like if everyone would just chill out for a second and put aside whatever feelings they have for whatever particular government officials that they're offering their feelings about. I think it's reasonable for people to be suspicious. It's reasonable for people to say, hey, this doesn't smell right. And again, I'm not saying that I know for a fact that such and such is. I'm saying that just looking at it through a calm, common sense lens, it is at least plausible that there's some information trail somewhere. Jesus Christ, they were booking flights for people. How does that happen?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, okay. So yeah, it's not crazy to believe that there's some records. And by the way, going to the second point, I'd say, yeah. So now, yeah, let's turn our attention to my right-wing brethren now. I think my right-wing brethren were a little bit too optimistic about the idea that there was going to be an enormous expose and everything would get blown wide open. That's not the world we live in. I mean, if, as seems obviously to be the case, that Jeffrey Epstein was providing these immoral services, so to speak, to all kinds of people, right, with all kinds of connections to government, and more importantly, to all kinds of people with all kinds of wealth and influence and power, then there's no way that those in power would ever let all that information just become public. You know what I'm saying? Because too many people would take the fall. And
yeah.
that is, if you believe that, like, again, taking the right-wing perspective now, if you believe that Jeffrey Epstein was sitting on so much information that could destroy so many wealthy and powerful people that he had to be crossed out, which is, again, what many of my right-wing brethren believe. And, again, they're not crazy to believe that. But I'm saying, if you believe that, then why would you think that the same power structure would somehow say, okay, and here's the books, and we're going to open up all the internet? Why? How does that work? What world do you think you live in? You see what I'm saying? So I was always kind of cynical about that. I was always going to say, okay, somehow or other, they're gonna fix it so that a few people take the fall and everyone else just scatters to the wind and moves on, and that's kind of as good as it gets for this particular human being who should have gone into a wood chipper like years ago. You know what I'm saying? That's because, I mean, that's obviously, you know, I mean, you know, when you think, man, it's a shame we don't hang people anymore.
Yeah.
You know, think about Jeffrey Epstein. That's the image I get is Jeffrey Epstein. What a pity we don't hang people anymore. That's the guy I think about. Okay, so if you think that he was what he was sitting on was so explosive that they had to X him out, then you should also think that it's not going to be a simple matter to release the explosive information that he was supposedly sitting on top of. So, in other words, my people on the left are a little bit too. Well, actually, no. My people on the left and the right are a little bit too trusting. People on the left are a little bit too trusting of the official narrative right now. They're not always untrusting of official narratives. Just you know, it depends on their mood and so on and so forth, right? But they're too trusting of the official. Yeah, there's nothing to see there. Ha, you stupid conservative. And my people on the right were too trusting of, at the end of the day, of government. I mean, yes, you know, there is an executive in Washington right now who is in many ways friendly to our conservative agenda. But at the end of the day, it's still Washington. It's still government.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think they were a little bit too trusting of the idea that the right person in the executive seat would somehow cleanse everything. And it's like that is, you know, in my kind of cynical mind, that's just not the world you live in. That's not how things work. That's how history works. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's my take. That's my take. I mean, I listened to this podcast. I didn't know that the News Hour on PBS had a podcast.
Okay.
But you know, so I listened to one of these episodes. They were podcast app here on the tablet, and it's like they're talking about this Epstein thing, and it's amazing because when I was growing up watching the News Hour, back then they called it the McNeil era News Hour, and then later it was the PBS News Hour. Like I thought that that's the channel that's not biased either way. Those are the guys who play it straight up because it's public television. So those are the guys who play it straight up the middle. But they were not playing it straight up the middle. I mean, they were talking about conspiracy theories come and go, and in the end of the day, I think it was like wait a minute, really? Like so there's no one's asking if the idea that there were no records anywhere, if that idea contravenes common sense. That's a question I ask myself a lot, right? In an age where everyone wants to come and tell me all kinds of shit, and they say, well, I have a survey, and I have receipts, and this scientist says this, and this doctor says that, and this UN agency and these experts say this. I'm like, okay, fair enough. Let's just see what common sense says. Because if something goes sufficiently against common sense, then you need more evidence. I'm not going to it becomes an extraordinary claim, which then requires extraordinary proof. And so nowhere in this broadcast or in this segment, where they were talking about Epstein and where they're saying, well, you know, but is it possible that there's still something that's still being covered up? Because after all, people keep records. And after all, there was some movement of, if you're trafficking human beings, then there is some movement of money involved in trafficking human beings. And at some point, you're going to generate some kind of signature that someone can analyze and maybe figure something out. You're trafficking whole people, right? So, but again, they were happy to just, you know, go with the narrative of the fair and impartial thing for them was is this conspiracy theory really going to have an effect on the base, or is it not? That was their big thing. But nowhere it's this ridiculous idea that that Jeffrey Epstein's criminal enterprise generated data. Is that ridiculous? That was the thing. Is that ridiculous idea going to have any more currency, or have we seen the end of this nonsense?
Well,
and I'm like, well, but enterprises generate data like that, and I mean, Jesus Christ, they had Al Capone based on his records. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, what are you talking about? So anyway, I've ranted enough. That's my take on it.
Yeah,
like,
no, and understood. I guess when I look at it from this angle of saying anybody that went to that island or went to Jeffrey's house and touched an underage female, their name should come out. They should be held accountable for what they have done. And it's sad that this administration wants to not open up the door and say, here is your pedophiles. I think any pedophile should never, there should be a place, instead of having that Alcatraz Island that they got, Alligator Island, they should let everybody go. That's where pedophiles should go. And they should never, ever, 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 ever be able to, because I dated a girl whose uncle, and I know how messed up she was by her uncle doing what he did to her.
Sure.
It messed her up like you would not believe. And even to this day, with us being as old as we are, she still is going through it. Even though she told, but nothing was done to her uncle. So I'm,
You talk about should.
Something should,
And you're right.
yeah.
Right. You're talking about should, and you're right. But here's the thing: I'm talking about is. This is the world we live in. Again, look. If first of all, if he kept records, or some kind of records, or if those records can be reconstructed from the metadata, which also seems likely, and that information is made public, half of Richard Washington is going away.
Then
I mean, that's the thing.
Then I think half of
that is half of official Washington. That's like detonating a fucking neutron bomb over Washington D.C. and over Wall Street.
Yeah.
Okay, and therefore it's not going to happen. That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
So that's life.
Oh, I agree with you.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, yeah, that's all.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what did you? That's what I'm saying to my conservative brethren. I'm like, bro, what did you think? What did you think? Really? Like you? No, bro. No, they're not going to do that.
Yeah. No. I agree. I agree. Nothing is going to happen. But like I said before, from somebody who has been around somebody who had been taken advantage of and treated in a way that no woman should be treated. I know what that looks like. And if any of these little girls who been on that island, been touched or anything by some of these men, if they turned out or have a mindset and their spirit broke like hers was, I don't care. Blow Washington up. Blow everything up as far as I'm concerned. But somebody needs to be in jail. Somebody.
All those girls are still. You're seeing all those girls are still alive. I'm not.
Do I think all of those girls are still alive?
No. I said you're assuming all those girls are still.
Oh, okay.
Because you said if any of them speak up, in other words, I'm like, you're
Yeah.
assuming they're able to speak up. I'm not.
Right.
I mean, that's what, like, look, bro. I don't put it this way. I don't put anything past these people. Nothing. We're talking about some of the worst human beings in the world, bro.
Sure.
Right?
Oh, definitely.
So,
Definitely.
I don't put nothing past them, right? And I'm just saying, like, that's the thing. And it's a hell of a thing. You know, it's a hell of a world to live in, you know, but there it is. And listen, by the way, I'll also say this, though. Let's be honest. It ain't only on Jeffrey Epstein Island that girls are getting trafficked. Girls are getting trafficked all over the place.
Yeah.
Girls are getting trafficked in these migrant shelters that they're running right now.
Well, we just had a big bust. We just had a big bust here in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And we got all kinds here.
There was a recent bust. My mom told me about where some guy like raped his daughter. He was living in some shelter in Massachusetts. A state-run, or rather not run because it's run by like a shadow company. But you know what I mean? It's like a state-financed shelter. Yeah, and you know, basically all types of shit's going down there, and the state police are under orders not to make noise about it, and the local police are under orders not to make noise about it, and that's how that is. And this is Massachusetts. And by the way, the mayor of Boston's a woman. The governor of Massachusetts is a woman. How's that for nurturing and empathy and so on? Right?
There you go.
So I mean, look, right? So that's the quality of people we're talking about. Right. So it's terrible. And look, I think the best we can do is to try to apply, all the fixes we can to the system we have, and hope that we can grow into a system where that kind of thing is either less likely or impossible to happen. You know what I mean? But I just,
I know.
the hell of a thing, bro.
Yeah, I know. I get it. I get it. And it's like I said, it's just sad that power, we take people over, we take power over people. It's just like what I was talking about, the situation that we have here in Minnesota. What's going on in Minnesota is about power, about people wanting to stay in power. Not that they care about the people that really needs help and things of that sort. So this is about power that's going on here. And like you said, it's pretty much the same thing going on there. If they were to open up those files and drop that bomb, D.C. wouldn't be as powerful as it was before. Yeah. So they would rather wreck a group of people, tear down a group of people, put a group of people through hell than to actually tell the truth, tell the people the truth. They would rather for all of that to happen versus going, we're going to tell the people the truth, what just happened or what's happening. We're not going to lie to them. So there you go. That's our government.
That's, by the way, that's every government.
Which is true.
And that's why, we believe in limited government. But here's the catch, right? Here's the catch, and which is, I've been trying to get my conservative brethren to kind of get on board with this. It's like, if you believe in limited government, you have to believe in some limits on what private capital can do. Because remember, Jeffrey Epstein, at the end of the day, was private capital. At the end of the day, Jeffrey Epstein was private capital. Let that sink in.
Oh,
so just remember, when conservatives, so-called conservatives, talk about rich people as if they can do no wrong, right? It's like when they talk about as if they are always and everywhere job creators. I mean, yes, you're a job creator if you create jobs. But when people on our side talk about profits as if all profits are equally virtuous. I mean, you and I know that there are virtuous profits and there are vicious profits. I mean, this is why, by the way, just as a sidebar, I mean, this is why I think you'll agree with me here is that look, we need a spiritual revolution in this country. Well, hell with spirit, we need a religious revolution in this country.
There you go. Yes, we do.
Because the fact is, capitalism doesn't work without doesn't work well without a moral code, brother. Without a moral framework, and we have to at last, right, admit to ourselves that not all profits are virtuous. That maybe the scriptures have a point when they talk about how bad usury is, right, and that maybe if smaller is better applies to government, then it also applies to private capital, to concentrations, to amalgamations, to mergers, and so on and so forth. And we definitely seem to have forgotten that. It wasn't always the case. We had, at some point, there were Republicans walking around who understood that there was such a thing as an oil company that could be too big, or a railroad company that could be too big. And nowadays, we've become familiar with the term "too big to fail." But "too big to fail" is a term that's exactly 2 words too long. That phrase is precisely 2 words too long. In other words, the last 2 words are unnecessary. Too big to fail means too big. And just because we're facing off against a bunch of godless, heathen socialists, okay, who hate the idea of profit, does not mean that the correct response is to say that all profit is amazing. There is virtuous profit and there is vicious profit. And profit has a right purpose, wealth has a right purpose, prosperity has a right purpose. And we have to be willing to say that. I don't say that we have to start trying to write scripture into legislation, but we have to come clean, right, with the idea that the morals behind capitalism, the morals behind how you do any economic system for that matter, really matter. They just do. And whether or not you as a country decide to embrace usury or industry really matters. It is a vital issue. Literally speaking, it is life or death, our choice. So that's it.
There you go. I mean, it's thing about it is it's not.
You have 1 minute left.
Oh, you got time for one more, or what do you want?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Time for one more.
Let's do one more.
All right, brother. I'll be right back.
See you in a minute.
Yeah.
All right.
The caller has hung up.
All right, people. Like I said, again, for the new people who are here, if you're just catching up, we are talking to Dexter Taylor. Like I said, I got my hat on. I stand with Dexter Taylor. What that means is Dexter is in prison for what we consider to be something that he did not do. Something that he is in prison for, something that each and every one of us would have done. But I was explaining something before Dexter came back the last time, and I was explaining how Dexter did not go take cash and hide the fact that he was buying gun parts that he thought he had every right to buy, right? So he takes his American Express card, goes into the store, and he buys this gun part. The ATF or whoever it is up there in New York decides to go to these to gun stores and go, hey, anybody bought this part? And if someone bought this part, what we want you to do is we want you to give us his name and his number and everything like that. So they get Dexter's name and his number and everything, and then they go to his credit card company. And let me tell you this here. If you've done something that you think that, you feel that it's right for you to do, but your state feels that it's not right for you to do, American Express, if you got American Express card, I would rip it up. Because American Express went to court against their customer. Hold on, let me make sure you understand what I just said. American Express went to court against their customer. Now, if this man wanted to put together illegal firearms, he could easily paid cash for it, and nobody would have been the wisest. Nobody would have been the wisest. They wouldn't have known. They wouldn't have heard about it. They would have had nothing. Dexter, but why would you feel that if you have the right to buy, why should you hide that fact? You shouldn't. And he didn't. And he's sitting in jail right now. Right now, because he felt he did something he had every right to do. Something is wrong with that, America. Something is wrong with that. So he got 10 years. So Dexter Taylor right now is sitting in prison for 10 years. And so what we do here on Sunday is, again, we just give Dexter an opportunity to come on. He and I, we just chop it up. Carl is usually in the background doing what he does with the algorithm, or however you say that, with the rhythms. And we just give Dexter an opportunity to get almost in his head, to me, in his head, to get out of his cell for a little bit, to talk to normal people for a little bit. So that's what we do here on Sunday. So I thank each and every one of you for coming in and hanging out with us, giving us the opportunity, just to, like I said, basically to run off at the mouth, because that's pretty much what we do at the end of the day. So we're going to go for another, because we usually have him for about 35 minutes at a time. And then, like as you could hear, Dexter has to hang up, and then he calls back with everything. So we're waiting for him to give us a buzz back. We'll finish out our last 30 to 35 minutes here tonight. And my understanding through my wife, everything is up against my fence now. If I'd have known, I didn't know that the storm was going to be this bad. But apparently, all hell broke loose out there. And I'm downstairs, so I can't see outside at all. So I don't know what's going on. So I don't know what it's gonna look like when I get up and go outside. But you could hear the thunder and all that there type of stuff. So I'm shocked my dog wasn't running around, because Jordy don't like it when it's booming and all that there type of stuff. He's like, dude. That's why I don't like when it's thunder and lightning at night, especially when it's time for me to go to bed, because he'll come scratch on the door, and then all of a sudden we got somebody in our bed because he don't want to sleep in his bed. Anyway, hold on. Here, let's do this here while we wait for Dexter to give us a buzz back. But if you're in the way of those storms, I hope everything went good for you. I thought for sure the lights and everything was going to go off here. Usually our lights never go off. I mean, that's how good my electric company is. It's rare that our lights will go off, but when they start flickering, I'm like, uh-oh, because usually they don't flicker like that. Even when we've had a couple of really bad storms, they haven't flickered all that much. But that time, hold on one second. That time I was like, uh-oh. I thought for sure something was gonna go down with everything. But other than that, like I said, everything been good. It seems like with Dexter, we'll find out with him make sure, like I said, make sure his heart, mind, body, and his spirit is staying up, because being in there, like I said, I don't know if you ever been to prison. If you guys have, I've never done a crime to go to prison, but I have been in prison because I was a prison mentor for 11 and a half years. And I had to go when prisoners, before they get transferred over into the workhouse or a release house or anything of that sort. So I would start working with them the year before they got released. They would always give us a person or two to work with. And I've been in prisons, and even though in my head I was going to get out, I was not going to stay there, it still gives me the creeps when anytime I would go walk into those behind those bars, and they take all my stuff and they guide me down one, and you you lock the back door before you can go through the front door, and you lock the back door again before you go through the next door.
We're back.
All right, sounds like a deal. On everything. Hey, Dexter, we got a bunch of people on here, so
Yeah.
will you mind just touching some important parts you feel about your case? So, 'cause I'm sure we've got some new people on with us.
Okay, sure. I mean, and by the way, if people have questions, I'm glad to answer them. So I guess probably the most important thing to know about me and my case is that I'm a lifelong New Yorker. Got a 30-some-odd year career in the software industry as a software developer, as a software engineer. Squeaky clean record. I actually passed a criminal background check to become a member in good standing of my local gun range. I was still a member in good standing when I was raided. None of the weapons I built ever left my house. None of them had ever been fired when I was raided. I never talked about weapons on social media. I never took pictures. I never posted. I never did any of that shit. This was a private hobby that I hoped to make into a career. I had subscribed to Rocket FFL to learn about FFLs and how to get them and what the process was and the different types of FFLs and so on. So, and maybe most importantly to a geek like me is that I was very into weapons science and very into developing tools and technology to help the firearms industry, to help recreational shooters, to help police, to help the military. So yeah, that's the background on me, and I would say that as far as my case is concerned, I think it's very simple. People talk about the law in New York, or well, you should have known that this was the law and what have you. But as far as I'm concerned, that doesn't apply when a state is using its own. Is put it this way: when a state is violating civil rights under the color of law, that is to say, the states do not get to write laws that violate our civil rights. And this is very clear. It's very plain. It's very simple. This is not some remote corner of the Constitution. It's the Second Amendment. And if the Second Amendment protects anything, it protects the right of American citizens who, again, have never been in trouble with the law to keep in their arms quietly, privately, peaceably in their own homes. This is not an edge case. I wasn't arrested towing a howitzer through Central Park. I wasn't walking down Fifth Avenue with a slung AR-15. So I was in my home. And so that's it. That's I think the broad outlines. I mean, there's a lot deeper we could go. I mean, there's all the irregularities in my trial and the fact that it was more or less a kind of a done deal, like the fix was in from day one.
Right.
Stuff. But people can glean that from the background stuff. And again, I'm always happy to answer questions. Whoever show I'm on, whoever podcast, I'm always happy to answer for people. want to type in a question or what have you, I'm delighted to answer questions. But yeah, those are the basics.
I think one of the things.
And of course, sorry, Rucker. And of course, that I was 10 years in prison, and I am in a Class A maximum security prison because in the state of New York, if you own a firearm, such as in my case, one you have manufactured, and you didn't ask the state's permission, right? Then you are guilty of a violent felony. So let that marinate.
A violent felony.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't commit any type of violent act.
Nope.
But they got you on a violent felony.
That's right. That's exactly right. Someone said when they're talking about my case that in New York State they treated you like a violent criminal. I said, well, actually, no. Like New York State has a very warm and tender and sentimental way with violent criminals who actually hurt people. Those guys, they have all the sympathy in the world for you. But if you're a violent felon whose act of violence was just creating an instrument in your house, then they're going to run wild on you. That's just how that goes.
I think another thing for those who do know your case, and then for those who don't know your case, they would be surprised to hear that your case was a firearm case, correct?
Yeah.
And under the actual color of law, you should have had the right to the Second Amendment, correct?
Well, we need to talk about it in court, yes.
But because it's New York, you are not allowed to fight with the Second Amendment.
Well, yeah, put it this way. I wasn't allowed to, I couldn't say anything about the Second Amendment. My lawyer wasn't allowed to talk about the Second Amendment. Anytime I said the word Second Amendment, I got an objection from the prosecution, which was immediately sustained. I mean, I took the stand in my own defense, and the prosecutor asked me, well, did you have a permit? I said, of course I had a permit. My permit is called the Second Amendment. Objection, immediately. What was the date on your supposed permit? I told him my date of birth, and I said that's the day I first drew breath as a free American citizen. Objection, and so on and so forth. So yeah, they didn't want any talk of fundamental rights or civil rights in that courtroom. She did not want it, and it didn't go down.
So they didn't want you to fight fire with fires, basically what they're saying.
I wouldn't even call it fighting. I wouldn't even call it fighting fire with fire. Remember that the court has no problem with constitutional rights as such.
Okay.
Because there's all kinds of constitutional rights that they talk about and remind you of when you're in court. Remember?
Okay.
I mean, you have the right to speedy trial. You have the right to trial by jury. You have the right. You have the right to take the fifth. The fifth what? People have been saying take the fifth so long in trial court. You've forgotten the fifth of what? You have the right in a state court trial, right? Mine was a state court trial. You have the right to take the fifth. The fifth of what? The Fifth Amendment. To the what? To the Constitution. Oops. Right? So that's what I'm saying. Like, it was just like, well, no, there's just one constitutional right that we must, that you're not allowed to talk about at all. Everything else, whatever. So yeah.
That's crazy. It's that this country, this government will find some type of loophole or find some, and when they can't, they'll just come up with something.
Well,
Uh,
let's be wait a minute. Well, let's be fair. Let's be fair. You said this country, but again, this is New York State. This is New York State, right? Thankfully, we have an executive in the White House who appears to think about Second Amendment rights as civil rights, which they are, right? And we have to be honest. I mean, half the states in the union have constitutional carriage. You can walk around the street strapped without a permit, which is awesome. That's the way it should be. It's just that we have some cities that are run by godless, heathen, lawless Democrats, and that's how they get down. My solution is simple. Peacefully and politely show them the door. You're fired. You're fired. Pack your stuff. Hit the brick. Don't let the front door hit you with a good Lord split you. You're not built for this here.
One of them see you bye-byes.
But yeah, exactly. But of course, we need enough people to kind of take that political fight to the enemy. And in the meantime, we've got what we got. So yeah, that's the story.
Wow. And one of the things. Oh, as far as any type of appeal or anything's going on with your case, any new news?
Well, yeah, right now we're just raising money so that we can actually file. My legal team has already written the appeal.
Okay.
It was done around March of this year, and right now we're just waiting, or not waiting, but we're raising money to pay the filing fees to file the appeal.
Okay.
And then once we do that, well, it's going to be hurry up and wait, because we essentially have to go through the whole state appeal courts, through all the state appeal courts, and pretty much lose all of them, because I mean, as you would imagine, they're all run by Democrats. So we're not going to get any Second Amendment relief there. We pretty much have to do that until we get to the federal system. So while my legal team does that, there's nothing I can do to speed that up or to change that. What I can do is I can work on the political side, right? I can get on with people like you. I can get on different podcasts. I was on with Kay Daly last week. Wait a minute, I think that was week before last. I was on the War Boys podcast recently. So my thing is I can do the political side. I can turn up the volume on this. I can talk to people about it. I can raise awareness. I can get people to make noise, and hopefully, with all of us together, if the us is big enough and make enough noise to create a political liability for Democrats, and maybe even to get the Department of Justice to go ahead and take New York State to court, because I'm not a lawyer, but I'm pretty sure violating someone's civil rights under color of law is actually a crime. And there's, as you and I know, Reverend, there is ample precedent for the federal government taking Democrats to court when they're violating Black people's civil rights.
Right.
That was a thing in this country in the recent unpleasantness in the American South. So.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do.
And that will definitely work. And like I said, for those who are not abreast to what's going on or what we do, I just wanted to kind of give them a little bit of a catch up to where we're at and what we're trying to do, and hear anything new that came out of your camp that we can report and see where we go from there. With this whole thing.
Sir.
So, you know, Ozzy Osbourne passed.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, Hulk Hogan passed. And Malcolm
Chuck Mangione.
2025, man, is just getting people.
Every year gets people.
No, it does, but it just sounds like 2025 was like, I'm taking this one and this one, and and we're not even done.
It does. Sometimes it does feel like that because you see like a few ones and quick to the headlines, like, wow, we're losing everybody. But in point of fact, if you go back and think, I mean, I'm pretty sure every year there's like a handful of people who who pass on, and it's like, wow, so and so from my childhood,
Right.
There are a couple of musicians I can think of who I used to listen to when I was a kid, and they passed. Movie stars and so on. I mean, like a Val Kilmer, I think. I don't know if he passed this year, but he passed not that long ago. He'd been ill or whatever. But it's like, yeah, that's just how it be. And the guys, and so yeah, I guess the guys you and I used to who were part of popular culture when you and I were kids. When they pass, we feel a special kind of way. Like, like teenagers are not saying, "Oh man, 2025 is getting people," because they just, they had no concept. But you and I feel it because, we grew up watching wrestling, with our dads on the weekend or whatever, and so on and so forth. Yeah.
Especially when it comes to the Hulk. I mean,
Hogan. Yeah.
Even up to a while there. Yeah. With that, and then like I said, with Malcolm, it's like that's Theo. You can't even when he played other parts. That's like okay, he can be a doctor, but we know he's Theo.
Oh, Malcolm John Warner, yeah, he passed too.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So that's why it's kind of a stand back for a second and then go 2025, and it was sitting back just going let's wait and see what it's not even over yet. Summer's not even over yet, and we got those people who have passed away, but we'll see.
Well, let's be fair. Like, I mean, as far as Malcolm Warner's concerned, I mean, he was like it wasn't like he had a long illness or if his heart gave out or whatever. That was an accident. So
yeah,
it is. That is what that is. And of course, Ozzy Osbourne was kind of old. He probably would have lasted. Let's be honest, he probably might have lasted a bit longer if he hadn't, hit it quite so hard when he was young.
Yeah.
It was, kind of hardcore, it's what it is, though.
Well, I figure Ozzy figured that it's not like he's gonna come back, so he's gonna use his body to its means, and so and went ahead and done that. So it's like, okay, no problem. But yeah, I was just looking at it going, 2025, he ain't done yet, so we have to sit back and wait. But yeah, them four, I don't think anybody, well, especially Malcolm. Theo. Yeah, I don't think anybody, like you said, with the other ones, probably could have flipped a coin.
They were old. They had a good run. I mean, they had a good run.
Yeah.
It's like they both had a good run. I mean, Ozzy Osbourne even had a second act, right? Because he had that reality show thing. So yeah,
sure.
Malcolm's the wrong one. Just got caught up. He just the ocean will do things.
Them riptides, man. If you've never been in,
exactly, current,
right? Oh man, unbelievable. That's why I don't play. That's why I don't play in the ocean. No.
I'm a dry land. I'm like an earth and fire guy. I'm not really a water.
Now I'm from Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. North Carolina. So
okay.
Yeah, and we had a beach right on the base. I used to be at the beach every day. I know how to when we went back to North Carolina, because I was telling my wife, I go, yeah, I can surf. And she's looking at me like, no, you can't. I don't know a black guy there's a couple black guys I know that can actually surf. That's why I picked up snowboarding, because when I first got here to Minnesota, so my wife tries to teach me how to ski. Yeah, believe me. If you'd have saw it, you would have. Oh my God. So so I get mad at her, and I say, well, if I'm going to learn this, I better go take lessons, right? So I go up and I start taking these lessons, and these lessons I could not get it. I could not pick this thing up. So this dude comes by me on this board, and I'm like, why didn't anybody tell me about this? Dude.
You're like, how long have y'all been doing this shit without me?
Exactly. Man, I took those, my wife would tell you, I took those skates back in that dang old chalet, and give me a board. Man, gone. Took it by the end of the day, she'll tell you, man, by the end of the day, I was gone. All because, like I said, I know how to surf. So I was able to pick that snowboarding up like it was nothing.
Right.
You know.
Yep.
So and I taught both my boys. So back in the day, before I got sick, that's what me and my boys would do. We would be out and it's funny to watch everybody in the line watch us come downhill, because they're looking at us like going, you're not supposed to be doing this. I'm like, dude, I'm not your average Negro. I like to have fun. Period, point blank. So, they're looking at it like, you guys are not supposed to be doing. Both my boys can snowboard. They snowboard better than I do now. I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good, but my boys are good. They're real good. So I taught them how to snowboard, and they passed me. So, but yeah, it's just funny. We always talk about that on the way home. How when we were coming out, he's got three of us back to back coming down the mountain, and everybody realized, and by the time we get to the line, everybody, I mean, we just get stares the whole time we're there. Yeah. It's pretty funny. Yeah, it's pretty funny. So, but anyway, what else you got before we get off this puppy?
Let's see. I don't know that I have that much more. Well, here's one thing I've just that's occurred to me. I think I might talk about this more in greater depth tomorrow, because tomorrow is when we're set to start back with my conservative space series called The Hidden Path. Carl and I and a handful of people are gonna do a space where I rant about some conservative issue, and then or rant about some issue, and then we go back and forth with Q&A. But yeah, I've been thinking about this a lot. The idea that well, for some people, it seems like how can I put this? So I've noticed that even people who are not on the quote-unquote far left, right? Even people who call themselves conservative or call themselves Republican, are expressing some amount of concern over the fact that, for example, the Trump administration is moving to cut off federal funding for certain schools and this and that. Okay. And you know me well enough, Reverend. I don't feel the need, and I've never felt the need to like automatically defend something that a president does, any president, this president included. But at the same time, it's interesting to me because no one ever, for example, when you hear about President Trump saying, we're cutting the research funding for, the Harvard or the National Institute for the Humanities or whatever, They say, well, this is terrible because we have a president, a politician who's telling people what they can and can't say, and or what they can and can't research, and like especially in the case of a university like Harvard. The question I'm always asking myself that no one seems to have an answer to is, well, why doesn't Harvard just not take the money?
Yeah, you got a point.
Like Harvard I said especially Harvard because Harvard has an enormous endowment. Like Harvard's endowment is in the billions of dollars. What is Harvard's endowment for? And maybe someone who knows more about academia and universities can tell me what the endowment is for, but it seems to me that like there are billions of dollars under the sofa cushions. And if you have a federal government that's like, we don't like the fact that you're doing X, then like you can tell the federal government to go do something. Because you've got money. It's like, thank you, but we like doing this, so we're going to finance this on our own. And then, the other thing is, the Trump administration is cutting lots of money that's funding these nonprofit organizations. And, well, they're doing charitable business, which is all lovely, right? But the fact is that they're doing it with government money, which means taxpayer money, right? Because the government doesn't have any money of its own. And I was reading one article in the AP Newswire where they were actually saying, well, the problem with cutting federal funding for these nonprofits is that, private capital can't fill the gap. Private capital alone is not going to. And I'm like, well, first of all, if they're paying them with government money, then that is, in fact, private capital, which is to say it is the capital, is the money taken from private citizens. That's what government money is. So there again, I'm like, why? All these wealthy lefties who see fit to fund all kinds of political campaigns for all kind of disastrous mayors. And look, that's their right. If billionaire X thinks that San Francisco needs a mayor that's even more of a socialist because of okay, fine. But so the federal government is now saying they're not going to fund all these nonprofits. Many of them lefty nonprofits. So why don't these billionaires jump in and fund these nonprofits? Why don't they get together a consortium of lefty billionaires from around the world, the ones who are telling us about climate and the ones who own the newspapers and always telling us the planet is burning? Why don't they get together and fund this stuff?
Right. Because they don't, they don't want to spend their money. I mean, the whole thing about being a billionaire is to make sure you keep your money.
Oh, no, but I think it's deeper than that because they're spending their money on other things. Like I said, they're financing political campaigns. They're pouring huge amounts of money. I mean, Bloomberg is pouring, so he's spending his own money. Okay, so spend it on that. But I think it's because they know at some level. Like, for example, you finance a campaign, it's different because the person either wins or loses. But, like, the nonprofit industrial complex, it's like pouring money into the river. Like, it's just, it's gone and you don't know where. And you know what happened. And I found that out years ago, right? After I worked for one particularly unsavory nonprofit. And I was like, wait a second. All the nonprofits I've ever done work with, they've all been kind of shady and disgusting and had this air of smug entitlement, like they were saving the world by just existing. And they all need to go. So that's the last thing I had on my mind for tonight is just how funny it is or strange it is that no one ever thinks, well, couldn't Harvard just fund its own? Like, why do we think that like the freedom of academic inquiry is under threat? It's not under threat. It's just the freedom of academia to conduct its research on our dime. Well, let someone else fund it.
No, you're right.
I don't even have a special problem with government-funded research. I don't. I think that, after World War II, for example, the way that the U.S. government funded private research, basic research, basic science, where people studying the atom at whatever university and so on and so forth. Okay, wonderful. But let's be honest, the academic sector has gotten so fat and so
You have 1 minute left.
Pleased with itself that lately it hasn't been delivering very much of value, in my opinion. And all the dumbest stuff seems to come out of the academic sector. So,
sounds good.
Time for them to tighten their belts like everybody else. Anyway, I just heard Minute Maid chime in. It was good to be with you tonight, brother.
Yes, sir. Good to have you back, man.
Chopping it up with you all the time.
Good to have you back.
Always good.
Well, I'll jump in one of your spaces. I'll jump in one of your spaces throughout the week. So, and then we'll get back on track on Sundays.
Sounds good, bro.
Appreciate you, Dexter, man. You.
Regards to the family.
Yep. God bless and be good. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, brother. Stay strong. God
All right. We're out, bro.
Bye.
Appreciate you. Bye now.
Yep.
Again, thank each and every one of you for hanging out with us tonight. Thank you so much. What I do ask that if you have some time on your hand, to go to Dexter page or go to one of his to Carbon Mike and read about his story. If something about or what you heard here tonight moves you, we ask that you reach out to somebody. I don't, somebody who got a bigger microphone than I have, that maybe we can get them to talk about Dexter case and things of that sort. So thank you again. Like I said, we're going to try to get back on track for our Sundays night conversations with Dexter and everything. But I'll be back tomorrow, and I'm going to be on Tuesday because I've got a guest that's going to be hanging out with me, and we're going to be talking about the ATF and some of the bad things that they actually do to people. On Tuesday, Range Mind is going to be sitting in with me, and we're going to be dealing with some things that is just not right. So we'll see you Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday of this week. So you get a double dose of me running off at the mouth. So again, appreciate you guys hanging out with us. I got to go see about my stuff that's on the back of the fence, I'm told. And then we'll go from there. Y'all have a good night. Peace. I'm out, fam.